What you're going to hear about today is nothing short of a miracle. It's dramatically new, made possible only through years of research.
Welcome, and thank you for watching this presentation for Spirent Axon. Spirent is well known in the world of networking for delivering products that test and validate the performance of networking vendor platforms and wired and wireless telco carrier networks. Axon is one of the latest of revolutionary network performance validation systems Spirent is now providing for business networks. With that said, let's get started. Being an enterprise IT means moving at the speed of business. Projects drive you. Your company might make a new acquisition, decide to roll out a new application, or maybe decide to roll out a new network service like video conferencing to save on travel costs. Whatever the project is, many times IT is not included and has no insight in the business decision-making processes that create new IT projects. You get notified right before the project is supposed to happen, and then it becomes your job to find a way to make it work. There is little planning, and the IT department has to get everything connected in a very short time frame, and the project must be successful. Whether you launch a new remote office across the WAN, or a new application, or maybe you deploy a network service like voice over IP, whatever the scenario, you're never really sure the network can support it at all. And there may not be enough time to figure it out in advance, properly design the network, and have complete confidence it will perform as needed. You may just have to deal with any issues as they arise. You're responsible for managing your company's network, your network vendors and managed service providers, and the telco carriers. Many times you're caught in the middle between service providers, and you have to be able to know which one of them to work with in order to resolve issues quickly. It can be complex and challenging, especially when you're managing a converged environment. But your business demands it, and it won't accept extended delays. The network itself is only the network. Without a solid architecture and quality of service implementation, it will take what it can take and discard the rest to the trash. Has quality of service been configured properly on your network? Is class of service set up properly by your telco carrier? And are they matching your markings? Is your network fully optimized to perform at its best? Who really knows until everything is tested? Moving at the speed of business can be very fast-paced and intimidating. If you had the time, you'd test the network before projects and changes occur and get the answers you need in advance every time. But testing the performance of your network can be time-consuming and expensive, and you don't have the calendar or the budget for either. Without being able to optimize network performance, it's hard to know which direction to take, so you're just purchasing more bandwidth. That way, you'll have enough bandwidth to handle the normal network traffic and then a little bit more bandwidth to help keep your users happy. Does it work? Well, sometimes, but more often than not, the voice over IP calls still get dropped because someone else needed to download a video or some other large files. Fortunately, there is a better way. Introducing Axon from Spirent, a radically different and powerful network and application performance solution. With Axon, now you have a simple, quick, and easy way to test performance and optimize your network so you know where you stand, now and in the future. Spirent Axon delivers the power to load your network up to 10 gig with real network services or applications traffic that you select. Now you can test your network end to end or any point in between and know you're confident about what will and won't work in advance. With Axon, you can not only know how your network will perform in advance, but now you can know as frequently as you need to because you can repeat the test whenever you choose. Your work-life balance just got a little easier. Spirent Axon allows you to spend less time troubleshooting, freeing up cycles and resources for other activities so you're more efficient. Reduce your monthly recurring circuit expense by eliminating extra bandwidth you don't need. Validate you're actually getting the bandwidth and services from your carrier that you're paying for, and eliminate finger pointing. Know in advance your network can handle new applications or network services rollouts. You can also validate load balancing and ensure your network can handle the failover capabilities you've designed under a full load. With all of these benefits combined, you're able to reduce your total cost of ownership. Not only is Spirent Axon easy to use, only 1U tall and rack mountable, but it's also portable. That means you can place it anywhere in your network that you need it to be. Now you have the flexibility to test from end to end or from any point to any other point in your network that you need to test. Axon is also Wi-Fi enabled, so maintaining a connection to it is easy, even when you need to move it to a different location in your data center. Axon is also browser-based, running HTML5, so you can connect to it via a web browser from any device. Spirent Axon can be connected to any Ethernet port across your enterprise data center, local area, or wide area network. Just place it and test it where you need to. Spirent Axon delivers results, both during and after performance testing has completed. Axon allows you to chart and track progress in real time during performance test. When the testing is complete, Axon then provides a comprehensive set of reporting capabilities, including charted reports, results details, printable reports, and export to CSV capability, all standard with no hidden fees. Let's take a look at just a few of the ways Axon can work for you. Now you can test from data center to data center. For instance, you may need to make sure your inter-data center circuits can handle backhaul traffic in the event of an MPLS network failover. End-to-end remote office testing from your main location, the data center, or any site to site. Multi-hop testing at any Ethernet connection point in your network for troubleshooting and isolation. Because Axon is portable, quick, and easy to use, now you can test Ethernet ports at every router, switch, or even desktop wall outlets. Axon goes where you need it to be. Now, very quickly, let's see Axon in action. Okay, so now I've opened a web browser and pulled up the interface for the Axon. As you can see, it is HTTPS enabled, so we are running SSL security. And in this case, I'm just using a simple Google Chrome browser. So I've got my authentication information put in here in the essence of time, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit the login key here. And now that everything is loaded, we're in the dashboard screen. I've got a list of buttons up top here. I'm not going to go through all of these buttons, but they consist of the dashboard that we're on, the test library, traffic player, the history. I'll show you something about that, and the administration pages. So in this area, we could just click on this button to start a test, but I want to show you a little bit more in this interface too very quickly if I can. So over here to the right is favorite test, and these are tests that as you run and create new tests of specific configurations and types that you want, then you can save these tests in your own list and give them your own name so that you know exactly what that test is and what you had done on it. So you can pull that test back up already pre-configured the way that you originally had it at any point in time that you want. So scrolling down here on the right now is the test library, and the test library consists of 11 tests that have already been pre-designed and configured on the Axon box itself. You don't have to do anything to these tests, but pull them up and run them. If we come back over to the left side, then you also see this box called recent results. And what this is if you remember the history that I showed you up here, this is the same thing, and this is the history of recent results of tests that you have run. So if you click on any of these, it will not rerun the test, but it will pull up the results of the last test that you ran. I'm going to go ahead and take us to running a test. Let's do the East Backbone stress test. Now, in this particular case, the East Backbone is going to be running on gigabit ports, but there is a limitation of 500 meg on the circuit between the two data centers. So we're not going to see all of the 1,000 megabits per second utilization on this that we've got plugged in here. But we are going to tell Axon to run up to that speed if capable. So very quickly, if you look at the playlist, and again, this is a pre-designed test, so all of the IP address information in this case has already been assigned. The ports themselves have already been assigned, and in this case, here in the playlist, then the number of voice calls, video, and HTTP sessions have already been pre-assigned too. So just to show you how this works very quickly, I'm going to go ahead and add to this. So on the voice call, I'm going to go ahead and let's say we try to make this 84 users. And I'm going to look at my track options here. We're running an audio codec of G.711, which is fine for tow quality, but we do have other options available for that. Each call length will be 30 seconds in duration, and the type of call is a voice call. So for video, we don't really have anything assigned other than one user, so I'm going to go ahead and change that to, let's say, 6 users here. My track options here, I can go out and choose different formats for video, and I kind of like football, so let's just say American football. And then for HTTP, looks like we've got 100 users that are running HTTP sessions using HTTP version 1. And as you can see, we've got response time variables and delays that we can incorporate into this as well. I'm going to go ahead and leave those alone for now so you won't get too bored and kick off the test. But basically at this point, everything is set. All I've got to do is just press the play button. And it's going to go through and validate the test and then validate the configuration for the test. And at this point, it's off and running. So our test is going. If you remember, I told you we do have a bandwidth limitation between these two nodes or locations of 500 meg. So we shouldn't expect to see any total bandwidth in the range of 1 gig here, but we should expect to see this climb up to 500 meg. So as you can see on the left side, the megabit scale, megabits per second scale, dynamically changes as the amount of bandwidth utilization encroaches higher and higher levels. The blue lines here, if you look here to your down in the lower left-hand corner, the blue line is the receive transmit, and the pink line is the transmit bandwidth that's being put out across the port at this point in time. So we can also look at some of that application data that we had designed a moment ago. You can see those number of connections all across that port. You can also see voice quality and what that looks like going across. That's based on difference in number of calls going across the circuit at any given moment in time. We can see the total calls as they occurred, right, in reference to that. And the test has completed now, by the way. I'd only set that for a duration of 1 minute. And now that it's completed, I can actually use my mouse pointer and go and mouse over these different spots at any point in time that I need to. So again, on the left is going to be our number of calls, and down across the bottom is our timeline for the duration of the test. So I can go and move my mouse pointer and not only see the number of calls, but I can also see that at that point in time we were 56 seconds into the test when 261 calls were trying to be placed across the network. I could go here and it'd be 244 calls being placed across the network at the 51-second increment. So you can see that in a very descriptive and detailed fashion. You can take a look at our RTP packet loss for those calls. Looks like we didn't have any of that. And we could also see our video quality data. If you remember, we had loaded video into this as well. So this is where our video came up, and as you can see, it ran pretty steady going across the duration of the test. So again, total bandwidth, application data, you can see voice quality data, video quality data, and in the application data, then you've got a breakdown there as well from number of connections, transactions, and even the response times throughout the duration of the test on a per second increment basis. So with that test being done, if you look at the two buttons here, the chart is what we've been on, but I could also click on details and be able to see this level of detail of the duration of that test and what was going on. So the nice thing about this is I also, on any of these, can drill down on them and see for that particular piece of this information what was going on again on a per second incremental basis, what was going on at any given time. So we looked at these two buttons. If you go with me just down below here to the download results area, then I also could print out a report of this test, and that just, as you see, just opens up a new tab in my browser and creates a very nicely formatted report. It's very helpful, by the way, if you need to hand this over to your telco carrier to help them figure out what's going on, maybe on their side of their network, or help them understand that things are looking okay and fine on your side of the network. So, nicely formatted report gives you all of the detailed information that we were just looking at as well. And you can send this or save it or print it out right from your web browser, so it's very convenient and easy to use. And then you also have a button here to send this data out to CSV. Then, of course, you can put that into any worksheet or database, whatever you might want to be able to import that data into, and then you can make your own complete custom chart. This is the completion of the very, very quick demo. I thank you for sitting through this with me, and we will see you next time.